It's time to start Dishin Days with your hosts Tony Moore, Michael Mattis, Justin Lee Hareld, and Araceli Aviles. And now, let's dish. Why, hello, everyone. Welcome to Dishin Days, where we're serving up a full dish of this week's episodes of Peacock's exclusive #1 award-winning HIT hit soap opera, Days of Our Lives. If you haven't already, make sure you like us and follow us on all social media platforms. We are Dishin Days Show on Facebook and Dishin Days on Instagram, Twitter, X, and Threads. Also, if you are watching us live and in living color and you have not hit that subscribe button, make sure you do. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button and that bell notification. And if you're watching us later, do it later because it's always going to be there. That way you'll never miss when we're going live or when we've uploaded a brand new video. And while you're on our YouTube channel, take a look around. Check out our past episodes, plus some interviews from your favorite Days of Our Lives cast members, current and old, as in the interviews are old, not the cast members. Also, if you want some exclusive content on our exclusive page for our exclusive members, make sure you join our exclusive members only page. For $4.99 a month, you can see firsthand some wonderful content that we have gotten for you featuring the cast of Days of Our Lives. Plus, you can see 2 amazing segments by our very own Dishin Days hosts, starting with Tia Says, where our cool Tia Araceli give our Salemites some wonderful advice. And of course, we take a deeper dive into Those Were the Days Extended, where our very own Justin Lee Hareld dives deep into the week's history of Days of Our Lives. And in order to get that, you must be a member. So go ahead and subscribe today. You can also join us on our virtual events, such as the one we're having today. Immediately following Dishin Days, we will be doing After the Dish, where we talk candidly and openly even more about Days of Our Lives with you via Zoom, face to face. Here we are, face to face, without a silver spoon, because we're all broke. So make sure you join us. $4.99. It's worth it. I promise. And you get to talk to some of our fellow fans that you see in the chat room. They're there. So come on over, like Christina Aguilera.
Come on over, baby.
Oh my God, I have y'all singing now. This is amazing. Also, make sure you show some love on our favorite podcast stations, such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. In case you need to take us on a long car ride or while you're stuck in traffic, or it's summer, bitches. So if you're on the beach and want to know what's happening in Salem, just look up Dishin Days to find out all the stunt shows and shenanigans that happen in Salem, brought to you by your favorite hosts of Dishin Days. I can tell you where you can't find our podcast. Google.
Mm-hmm.
Not there anymore. Also, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you show some love to our former co-host and my chocolate twin, Mr. James Lott Jr., who is serving up a couple of forks, spoons, and knives of his own. Check out his recap of General Hospital, Young and the Restless, and Bold and the Beautiful, including some original audio dramas written, directed, produced, starring Mr. James Lott Jr. over at JLJ Media on YouTube and where all podcasts can be found. And coming up, in a special JLJ Media series, we have the Soap Opera Roundtable, which will feature Miss Araceli Aviles in an upcoming episode.
So if you need a double dose of me this week, you can catch me Tuesday night on JLJ Media.
JLJ what?
JLJ Media. I will be a part of his roundtables this week, so
Roundtable.
come see me.
as in the pizza.
Oh.
The second you said round table, I was like, Michael Madison's fat ass is talking about pizza.
That's not the pizza I am getting.
I was driving to Raising Cane's the other day, and there was a round table pizza across the street from the Raising Cane's. I had
Did you almost divert?
Dilemma. Yeah.
Yep.
But I went with Raising Cane's. Yeah.
That's like when I go to the other Cracker Barrel. The dilemma is: do I go to Cracker Barrel or do I go to Texas Roadhouse?
Oh, out in Ontario or
it's
Montana.
Rialto.
Oh, wow.
Yep, that's it.
Rialto.
Oh, I know one of you must have retweeted that or reposted that segment that ran around this week about how there was one Trader Joe's across the street from another Trader Joe's. Did you see that?
Yeah, where was that at?
In Sherman Oaks, Riverside, by that mall, that Sherman Oaks Mall.
Okay.
There's the original Trader Joe's. Then they opened a second Trader Joe's on the bottom level of this new like mixed use building, and they're not closing the old Trader Joe's. So now there's going to be two Trader Joe's
across from.
Similar to the two CVS's across the street from each other in Studio City.
Oh yeah.
Hashtag abundant opulence.
Yeah.
Well, you know what's the good thing about that is, think about it. You go to that Trader Joe's, and if the Trader Joe's across the street is out of the thing you're looking for, you just walk across the street.
I know, like, are they franchised? Like, what's going on with that?
I don't know. Everything. It's you would think that living in weird times would be weird enough, and then people start making weird decisions regarding food and stores, and yeah.
We are living in weird times.
Yeah. I drove by Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles yesterday, and I almost stopped, but I'd been up since so early. I was so tired, so I was like, ugh, another time.
Instead of going to Roscoe's, I want you to go to Fixin's in downtown LA.
Fixin's is good, yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be.
Oh no, we've been there. Remember, we went there. Me and Araceli, we went there for lunch during Day of Days.
We did. That was the place. Yeah. We went there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Y'all went to lunch there during Day of Days. Where was I? Oh, I was hosting.
You were hosting.
You were busy. You were busy.
You were fighting people. Remember?
And Michael had checked out.
Or playing.
I left.
Yeah.
Michael said, "Peace out, bitches. I'm out."
Yeah. Yeah. Justin and I had a nice time. We met some fans. It was cool.
Well, now that we went to Fixin's, I wish I would have stayed
because of that.
Oh, well.
Can we now do an outing to Fixin's?
Yeah.
That's close enough by me that I will allow it.
Fine. Fine. Okay, we'll figure that out. Oh, maybe one day we'll do a fan meetup. Meet at Fixin's.
We could absolutely do that. I think that would be a blast. Maybe that's something we'll work on for Day of Days next year. Yeah. If time allowing.
Oh yeah, because Day of Days is a long day.
It's a long day. It's a long weekend. It's a long weekend.
Not for Michael Madis. Tony was hiding backstage from all the crazy fans. I wish, honey. I was front and center. Thank you, Christian Me World. I knew you were going to come in with your super chat. That's for John. Oh, for John's memorial.
For John's memorial. Yeah. Yeah, we'll get into that, and I'm going to get into it sober today, guys. I got tea today, but I think Megan Bizarro is drinking enough for all of us.
He's talking in the third person.
Right. All right, y'all. I mean, as you can see, like we all haven't been around each other in quite some time, and so when we do get around each other, we forget that we're doing the show. But we're also catching up, but we're also like spending time with each other. There's a lot that's happening.
Thank you for bearing with us. There's been a lot going on.
Yes. But we do it all with a smile on our face and our bellies full.
Ish. I have gummy bears.
Yeah. Oh. What? Never mind. Anyway, what did y'all think of this week's episodes of Day? Oh, before we get into that, I saw like comments the fact that half of us were gone last week for John's memorial.
Oh.
And some people were like, I saw someone say, like, you would think they would have just canceled the show. I'm like,
did you want us to?
We couldn't do that. Like, you know, unfortunately, like, two of us couldn't be here, but I felt like Michael Madison and Justin Lee Hareld did a great job by themselves.
Yes.
I thought we did fine.
Yeah.
You did great, Michael. You did great. But I think they were thinking
they were saying more, yeah.
It was such a huge
momentous occasion
thing that we should have been here. But you know, again, we can touch on it like a week later. It's fine. Because you know Araceli is.
I mean, you know, it was a lot.
Here we go.
No, I mean, no, it was a lot, and I'll be honest, I was kind of late in my watching because John's memorial coincided with my last week of work, so I wanted to sit down and be fully present for those episodes, and so basically I watched all of the Vets episodes in one sitting, where I started with John's memorial and I kind of ended with, you know, this week with Bo and Hope. And so I was really like deep in my feels for all of this, where it's like, you know, it was really emotional. And I think that our audience, and I appreciate our audience for like wanting to see us respond to that. But, you know, it was just so much. And I feel like everything, we kind of touched on all of our feelings up until this point. We've been talking, this pretty much everything we've been talking about for the last 9 months, ever since Drake passed. You know, I feel like we've said all there is to say, you know, and, you know, when the cast has said everything I think there is to say up till this point. And now it's just about how do we move forward? How does the show move forward? You know, we're all still kind of I think everybody is just in a collective still processing mode now.
Yeah. Before we get into this week, Araceli, is there anything you want to say about the memorial?
It was beautiful. I mean, this slate of shows was Emmy worthy. Definitely. It was everything you could want for the man, the actor, the character, for this cast, this incredible cast, past and present. I'm so proud of everyone who participated. We're proud of the individuals who put their all, from, you know, the writing, the directing, the cast, everyone who gave it their all, because they put in all their heart. And that, I think that is what separates soaps from other shows.
Yeah. I had to keep reminding myself that this was for John and not for Drake, because I feel like the two were intertwined. I feel like they were in character mourning John, but in real life mourning Drake, even though Drake was still alive. I think there was a lot of emotions going on, and I felt like you saw real raw emotions with each person as their character. And I feel like even sometimes they might have jumped out of their character and they were just them. Like Eric Martzoff's whole thing, like I felt like, even though he was doing it as Brady, but I also felt like it was just Eric talking
That's so
about
Eric.
Drake.
Yeah. That part was great. Yeah.
And it felt so, it didn't feel actory or anything like that. Like it felt so real, even like, because he was like, you know, Tink, you know, you wanted to laugh and, you know, and I'm like, but that's it's felt like such a real moment that you had to stay in character for, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Instead of being like, you know, Martha, I know it was like, you know, remember she's Belle in this moment, you know, but it felt unscripted and very real, you know, but they were also enjoying the memories of not only John, but Drake. So I thought it was great. And it was one of those moments where I wondered like how they felt, like kind of bracing themselves to come into the scene, and then to see how they did the memorial with like the photos and the urn, and like, you know, do you ask to see it before just so you can prep yourself? Do you go about your day and then you come to set and you're like, oh, you know, like I had a lot of questions, but overall I thought it was beautiful. It was a beautiful send-off. Mm-hmm. So thank you, Drake. Rest in peace. Thank you, John Black. Swing for the fences. Now on to this week. What do we think of this week's episodes of Days? Oh my God, we took 30 minutes to even get to that part. What do we think of this week's episodes of Days?
It was good.
It was good. Not a, you know, coming off of last week, it was nice to kind of have I guess it was nice this week to kind of have like a soft landing, so to speak. Mm-hmm. They went back to like regular scheduled programming, but I do feel like they, and whether this was conscientious or not, kind of eased back into things. And then, you know, we had a milestone to celebrate with a character slash actor, which was a lot of flashbacks this week, which are always fun to watch the flashbacks. Beautiful gowns, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Beautiful gowns.
Anytime I lose my thought, that's what I'm gonna say now. And I don't mean it as shade. I just get. I feel like I need to say something else next month or anything.
But you know that was said in
it was said in shade, yeah, because it was.
Yeah. So the second you're like, this is, you know, the week was fine. You know, beautiful gowns. It's like you're trying to find something nice to say about the week. So we're just gonna say beautiful gowns.
This, you know what it was? This week was very much kind of what I call the June theme, which is June is very much a transition month. You know what I mean? Your graduations are happening. It's halfway through the year. That, you know, that's the larger grand scheme of things, and then it's like everything's in transition now because we talked about, you know, getting through John's memorial. So now it's like now it's us transitioning to, okay, what does Salem look like after that? What do all, you know, these students are graduating? What do their lives look like? Everyone is in some kind of transition, whether you're retiring, unretiring, graduating, mourning, everything. Life is very much in flux right now. So that was kind of the theme of the week.
Yeah.
I also think we were starting to we're getting the new writers, we're getting like their stuff that they're bringing to the table, as opposed to like maybe what they were finishing up of Ron's, or like, you know, what was already sort of coming down the pipe. I feel like in some of the stories, and we'll talk about it, we got very quickly like answers to questions we've had, or avenues we thought storylines were going to go, and they very quickly said, no, we're not going to do that, we're going in a different direction. So it's like, oh, this is the new writers like coming in, and like this is what they're bringing to the table. These are the stories we want to focus on. These are the people we want to sort of highlight, or this is where we want to take these stories. So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah. I thought it was fine.
You did not post anything to upset us, Teresa. We're just she's all concerned. Talking about?
Vichy, Tony, and Araceli on last show. Sorry if post something to upset you guys.
No, guys. Look, life is in transition as we are. We have work obligations. Like that's why it took us 15. People noticed we took us 15 minutes to get on the air today. Everything's kind of crazy right now.
Yeah,
life is crazy. The show is crazy. We're crazy. Just let's just get into it.
Yeah, because I was watching this week and I thought to myself, I mean, we didn't have to come in today.
There was one episode where I saw the credits started to roll, and I was like, okay.
Did you pay attention?
You say that we didn't have to come in today, but then based on how long it took us to get in the air today, I'm like, no, we had to come in today because because otherwise we're just pushing it down the road. And
sure. I mean, I I was struggling to get through Friday's episode. I don't know why. Like there were moments where I was just like, "Oh," and then I was like, "I feel like I missed something," and I was like, okay.
"I think you're just sleepy."
Probably that too. Beautiful gowns. Beautiful gowns. Well, let's get into it, shall we? To see if we can wake me up, honey. It is now time. Here we go. It is now time to start. 1, 2, 3.
Dishin
Days.
Wow. Okay, we're getting better at that. Let's set that and forget it. All right, let's go into our top storylines, and we will start with our first one, which is the Devil's Bargain. And we're talking about good old Philip and Xander, and the fact that Xander whooped Philip's ass.
I knew when Philip woke up and said it wasn't Xander, I was like, oh, they had a conversation that we didn't see, and they agreed to keep quiet about everything. And yeah, that's what happened.
I just wish that moment didn't happen. I need to understand the bigger purpose, because I feel like they could have agreed to this without the ass whooping.
Oh, well, Xander wasn't. Yeah, he needed a wake up call, and he didn't get that till after. Yeah, after his
But still, I feel like I need to understand why he had to beat Philip up so bad, and why this huge shift in Sarah and Xander's relationship. Like I need to understand where this is going, because right now I'm kind of like, did we need this sort of shakeup? Did we need, like, could this have been done?
I mean, I don't know how you think it would have, how you envision it going differently, but I feel like their relationship has been a ticking time bomb for months. Like,
you think so? Oh, because of the secret, right?
Because of the secret, and then I knew that was gonna. We knew it. We knew he was gonna. Well, he ended up being angry at both of them, and he just beat Philip up and is all mad at Sarah. I just feel like she couldn't trust that her husband was not gonna do something violent, and so she lied, and then roped other people into the lie, and then it went on for months and months, and when it finally came out. Yeah, it triggered exactly what she was afraid it was going to trigger. And, it for me, the sequence of events makes complete sense to me. Yeah, it makes sense that Xander's anger got to the point where he reverted to his old ways. And we've seen that. It makes sense that he reverted to his old ways. He almost reverted to his old ways not even a year ago, when he almost wanted to kill Brady. Yeah. Or when he shot Philip, not knowing that the gun was empty, Yeah. So it makes complete sense to all of this happen. And now, these couples aren't happy forever. And it wouldn't make sense that after, obviously it wouldn't make sense after the beat up and the reveal of the secret, that at this point, Sarah and Xander could be copacetic with each other. They needed this, what am I trying to say? This drama, this conflict. I'm honestly here for it, because it's like we had so long where it was just Sarah trying to keep the secret, Xander being clueless about it, and now we're seeing the after effects of it, and Paul and Lindsay are playing it very masterfully. Yeah. I love their scenes when they're happy, and I love their scenes when they're wanting to punch each other in the face. So it's all good.
I just think for me, can we play Electric Youth to wake Tony up? Y'all are mean. Told y'all I'm tired. Here's the thing. Michael Mattis, you mentioned, like, how did I envision this going? I think I envisioned this. I braced myself for the reveal of the secret, and I envisioned Xander being upset, but I envisioned Xander where he is now, a little like more aware and remorseful of the anger during the reveal, if that makes sense. Like one would hope that everything that has happened and transpired in the past would make sure that he didn't react in this way. And then he did. And then it's like I didn't imagine all of this. I didn't imagine him and Sarah like going through this, and Sarah literally still having the upper hand in this situation, which that's such a weird power play.
Yeah.
Because I would think that she would be more remorseful, but instead she like has held on to the upper hand and being like, I knew you were going to act like that. So now you can't see your daughter. I don't want to be around you. Get out of this house.
But how is this different from what she did originally, trying to keep Victoria from Xander? I feel like this is exactly what she would do.
True. But I guess I just wished better for the characters. Like I just wish that I wish it went a different way. And I definitely didn't want Philip to be beaten the way that he was. So
I didn't realize they were going to make him get beat that bad. Like,
yeah,
I thought it was just going to be like a fight between them, or no, it was, yeah.
And so I'm just kind of, y'all know I'm a fan with open arms. I just need to understand, like the dots are here, right? I need to slowly start seeing the dots connect to make it all make sense. Of like, oh, okay, if Philip didn't get beat up, then this wouldn't have happened, so that allowed this to happen. Okay, I get it now. Because right now, all I'm just kind of seeing is like, why did we beat up Philip? Why do we have this huge mess between Xander and Sarah? Why does Sarah have the upper hand on Xander when in actuality you all lied to him? But somehow he is still made out to be a dirty dog. I mean, granted, he beat somebody up and all that, but it's like in this situation, it should be Xander being allowed to have those emotions because the people that he cared about lied. But instead, what we have is Xander kind of being the person that we're like, how dare you? Instead of the person that we're like, dang, I feel sorry for you, dude. Like, I get it. Like the love of your life was lying. Your brother was lying. Dang.
That doesn't excuse beating.
Minus the beating. Like if the beating didn't, I'm saying if the beating didn't happen, I'm saying we should. That I feel like that's how we should feel for Xander. Yeah. Like take away like him. Like I mean, letting him blow up, but minus the beating Philip. Like we should be like, we understand why Sarah did it, but like he didn't react in that way. So now you kept this secret from him for this long and you roped in all these other people and now everyone's lying to him and now it's blowing up in his face and we should feel more like, oh, poor Xander instead of, damn, Xander, like why you had to go and prove Sarah right to the max? Like not even just a little bit, like to the max.
I don't know. I like where this has led in terms of entertainment, you know what I mean? It's led to some entertaining stuff. And in terms of any kind of guilt, like lack of guilt on Sarah's part, I do feel like she doesn't show it to Xander, but I do feel like she does have that conflict inside of her because she broke down to Maggie. Was it last week?
Yeah.
This week?
Yeah.
She had a moment where she broke down, and I feel like Sarah feels like when she's with Xander, she has to be forceful. She has to have the upper hand for whatever reason. But in reality, she's, I feel like she has that conflict. She's just not showing it.
I think that you two touched on the same point with both Sarah and Xander, which is that, and I feel like this might be where this is going, in terms of the what's the point question that we're all hovering around is that, you know, they both need to feel that their worst emotions, like the worst parts of themselves, that they are safe to share those worst parts of themselves with each other.
Well, yeah.
And therein lies the conflict, where Sarah feels, as Michael said, Sarah feels like she always needs to have control over the situation. That she needs to have some kind of control over Xander, but like because she knows him so well. But then that cuts Xander off from being able to share his worst fears, his emotions over what he could possibly do. And Xander needs to feel like he can trust Sarah with his worst impulses without her going off the rails as well, without her pulling the, okay, now I make the decisions. You know what I mean? So it's almost like they have the same issue, where they said that they trust each other, but you know, loving someone does mean and living with them means you gotta take, when they say you take the bad with the good, you have to take the bad with the good.
And if you can't, it ain't gonna work.
If you can't, it ain't gonna work.
And it didn't for months now. It just doesn't seem like, more on Sarah. Sarah is not able to take the bad with the good.
And so that's the real test. And ironically, transfer that over to the brothers, who were actually able to have a real honest conversation, and Xander seemed honestly remorseful, and Philip seemed to honestly believe him. So it's weird. Maybe that's the product of them both being Victor's sons and them both being massive screw ups, where pardon the pun for Philip's leg, but neither one of them have a leg to stand on. In terms of their bad behavior. So the people say, well, like, how can Philip forgive Xander? Well, because you know what? Philip's pulled some crap in his day too. This is the same guy who faked his death and framed Brady for it. So I think
left his leg.
So he wouldn't have a leg to stand on. So it's kind of like them having made like the worst mistakes of their lives, I think allows them a different understanding and possibility for more forgiveness for each other.
I think they wanted to honestly give Xander and Sarah a break. I think this was their way to legitimately do that, by having him go so far to the deep end with that much violence that it forces her to say, I don't want it. Yeah, it's we can end this and kind of do it in anger. I also think they're moving forward with other things, and we got a little bit of hint of that this week. I feel like they're branching them off to other people, and I think that's why we had that storyline. Two things I didn't love. I expected the Philip and Xander scene to play out just like it did, so I assumed that was going to happen. I don't like that it was Xander's idea, though. I thought it would be Philip's idea. I don't know, it's bugging me that it's Xander going to him, because I feel like it would mean more if Philip woke up and was like, I'm going to cover for you. Yeah. I realized I did something bad. But having Xander sort of, not that he like tricked him into it, but he sort of reasoned with him, and it made sense to Philip. But it was also like, I wish it had come from Philip.
That would have been like an unexpected little twist to it.
Yeah. I also don't understand the let's not tell Sarah you're the one who told me. I'm like, you're already broken up. You're broken up at this point. You know what I mean? I didn't understand the need to like make that now a separate thing to keep. I didn't understand like what would be.
I understood it, but now I don't remember why I understood it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that part still confuses me too. To your point about if Philip would have been the initiator of that truce, I think he would have gotten there. I honestly do, but I think it just had to move so fast because Xander didn't have a lot of time before the security guard came back. I do think if Philip had the time to get there, he would have gotten there on his own.
Oh yeah, and we think that we're on board that Xander drugged the guard, right?
Oh,
Do you think so?
Yeah.
I thought it was just a bad batch of coffee.
I mean, okay, so granted, coffee can have that. I've experienced it. Coffee can have that effect on you, but it's not common.
Right.
So, yeah, for someone who drinks
coffee. Xander, got into the room at the same time he was having the splats from, the coffee. The guard was having the splats from the coffee. It's Xander did something to that coffee. And so he's still doing shit. And we say oh, he was so remorseful to Philip with his apology. Was he? Can we really trust what Xander says and does right now? It's going to be rough because I can't say that I do, because he was giving that apology and I was like, he's trying to save face because everyone knows he did it, whether he's going to get punished for it or not. He's in the company and the mergers, in order for that to hold firm, they have to get along, blah blah blah. I'm like, I felt like he said it because he felt he had to, not necessarily because he meant it. I question Xander's regrets.
Didn't something happen with Philip that he covered for someone else for?
Recently,
no,
past few years or something?
In the Philip history. I feel like maybe I'm making this up, because it almost feels like deja vu a little bit, where he got beat up, wakes up and goes, okay, yeah, he didn't do it. And I'm like, okay, he's protecting someone again. But I feel like he's done this before. Has he not?
Sean, maybe? Did him and Sean ever get really fight?
A while ago, but I don't think it led to this kind of injury.
Covering for.
We could have. I'm not remembering anything.
I don't remember.
Yeah, not to this extent. I can't. Yeah, no. The last time I remember him covering for anyone was way back in the day for Chloe.
Maybe that's what it is.
Oh, yeah. For Victor, when he covered for Chloe once, but
maybe he's covered for Chloe a couple of times on different occasions. Well, but in terms of
Chloe says lobster, of course he's going to cover for Chloe. He loves Chloe.
But they are kind of teetering with Xander, because right before he sort of gave that sincere apology, which I believe he also was there to kill Philip, so he was about to strangle.
So why do you believe his apology?
Him. I believe it because I think he's desperate.
Yeah.
But I think he's struggling, and that's why I think they're teetering with taking him too far. I think that going to
too late
was too far. I don't think the beating was too far. I think it was violent and it was bad, but I don't think it's out of the realm of what he would do. I think going to suffocate him as he was about to wake up, I think is a little much.
I feel like, because we all watched it, and it felt very oh, girl, are you gonna stop? It just kept going. If he had punched him once, like they normally do, just a douche, and he was able to go, oh, great. He beat the hell out of that man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Although, when I was sitting here and Philip said the only reason why you were able to do that was because of my artificial leg and I lost balance. Why did I sit here and picture suddenly Philip being and just start beating him with
Did the housewife do that?
Yes. The only thing that's fake about me is this leg, and she threw it on the table. But can you imagine if, during that fight, suddenly Philip just started beating Xander with the wooden leg, and then they both were a mess. And Kate walked in and was like, what dragged out fight happened in here?
It would have been one of those moments. Kate walked in, saw them fighting, and probably just turned around and left. She's like, I want nothing to do with it.
Or threw water on him or something.
Yeah. She would have Homer Simpson down.
Or she would have watched it for a minute before she stopped them. Mm-hmm. Because that moment where you want to watch it and then you're like, okay, break it up.
Mm-hmm. Belle doesn't believe Philip either.
Yeah.
Belle's yeah, I am not buying any of this.
Mm-hmm. Then poor Jada having to take it from Kate because there's nothing they can do because Philip's not. And then she's like, you hear the click. Hello. Hello. we got the old Kate back.
Yeah.
We've got so far.
Yeah.
And then there's this animosity with her and Xander, which I'm curious how this is going to play out.
Between Kate and Xander?
Yeah.
With her possibly working at Titan again.
Exactly. And yeah.
Xander
and Kate have never, had any substantial interactions before.
Not substantial, no. Like stuff back and forth, but no.
During the Body and Soul, they had a moment, and I can't remember what it was about. I think it was about Philip.
Yeah, it was about Philip. Yeah.
Can I ask this while we're talking about Kate?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How do you lose a big ass manuscript?
Did we talk about that last week?
Yeah.
Did we discuss how it was just still sitting on the desk after Mrs. Choi was rubbing one out while reading it, and it was just. And now
Kayla is, because I'm like, why did Kayla feel the need to take it?
She saw EJ came and gave her his whatever, his notes, figures, his project. She literally was like, glasses on,
manuscript.
Because it's been a very, very, very stressful time. The woman just wants to sit down with a good book.
Yeah,
nothing wrong with that.
Araceli, don't you put on Kayla what you like to do with your evenings. Okay.
Anyway, I think if I remember correctly, we rationalized Kate losing the manuscript as just like she too much going on with John and Philip, and it was just But I do also think someone would have put it in a lost and found box and not just taken it to their office to
Yeah.
I honestly think what they're doing is they are traveling this book around to the Salem women so that it's like a huge marketing thing to reassure them that they should print it and that it's good. Because why else would we see, Kate had an interest in it and she's like, it's good. And so it should just be published. I think it's like a test run of let's put it in the hands of all the Salem women to read enough to make them go, oh. And then I feel like it's going to be like some big, huge book club that they're all going to be reading it, sitting around eating spiked donuts from Alice.
I don't want to go to that book club.
I do. Donuts.
Yeah.
Great. I just want to go for the donuts. And to occasionally say, okay, girl.
Okay.
Because there's always someone that's that wants to read an excerpt from the book, right? And they're like, he slowly put his hand down my voluptuous bosom. And I'd be like, okay.
No, that's right.
I know that's right, girl. After a long, hard day, yes. As I'm eating the second donut. But yeah, I think it's just a test. But anyway, so yeah, that's pretty much that storyline, right?
Yeah.
We'll see how this plays out and what happens and who they point the finger at, or if Philip will just continue to pretend like he doesn't remember. Oh, also there was the discussion of custody. Well, not custody, visitation. And I'm just like, y'all literally woke up that morning in love. You probably had her sis that morning and that night before. And then now by the evening, y'all just hate each other so much. The flames are both coming out of your face.
Didn't you hear what Sarah said? She says she hates that she loves him. That thin line.
Well, let me tell you something. Had it been me and looking at Xander Karyakis, I would say, I love to love you. Now get on up here.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to another custody bout. We just did one, not even 2 years ago with them.
Oh, yeah.
Another one. Hopefully something changes.
Yeah. I would have looked at Xander and said, well, if you wanted to beat something up, you could have.
Oh, God. Oh, my God.
A little BDSM in the Kyriakis mansion. You know there's a dungeon in that. You know there's one of those rooms.
It's Maggie's.
It is officially summertime, folks. We are going off the rails over here.
50 Shades of Kyriakis.
Oh my God. And then I said that, and then it took me back to that scene with Xander and Sarah.
Yeah.
Oh, that scene.
Yeah. That scene. You know, the
the Demi Moore magazine cover. Yeah, I remember.
and the of the belt, and it's like, yes.
Scandalous.
It's scandaloso. All right, let's move on to our next top storyline, shall we? In which we're all having second thoughts. I want to start off with Johnny and Chanel, because there was a moment when Chanel was sitting at the table with Abe and Paulina, and they were toasting to life. And I kind of clutched my pearls, because I was like, in this moment, Chanel doesn't know what her life looks like. Because there's a life that she had pictured. And now with her going to her appointment to find out, you know, if she could start having kids again and all that, like life looks a little bleak for Chanel. And she sat there kind of like, what am I going to do? Which is why I'm glad she had an alcoholic beverage so that she could sip on while she thought about that.
I don't think I wouldn't call it bleak, but I would call it uncertain. Uncertain, and just not, and you know, doing her best to at least control the EJ part of it with that confrontation she had with him. Like, I feel like that was her, like, well, at least I'm going to try to, you know, control this part of it, because I can't, you know, I don't know.
I didn't fully think I understood what the storyline was doing, or like, I don't know, when she, like, I understood the, like, going to get checked up, and then when even Sarah was explaining it to her, she's like, oh, you just have to wait a while, and I'm like, well, didn't we, like, establish this, that they were going to wait a while anyway? Johnny's in therapy, like, they just came from this, like, failed adoption, like, I don't know, it seemed really rushed for some reason on her part. It seemed like it came out of nowhere.
I don't know that it's rushed. I think that, like, I told you, this was very much a theme of transitions, and I think that Chanel in particular is struggling with all of that, where she can't, it's like she can't get a handle. She knows what she wants for her future. That's the thing, is that she is 100% certain in the future that she wants. And it seems like at every turn, there's something that is going to get in the way of that, or at least delay it. And so that living in that uncertainty does not feel good for her. And like dealing with it's hard enough to deal with, with uncertainty surrounding, you know, pregnancy, the ability to get pregnant, fertility issues. You know, any woman who has had fertility issues will tell you that it's such an emotionally draining process. Before you even get into the weeds about how are we going to do this, can it be possible to have a baby, just the emotional toll that it takes is exhausting in and of itself. So she's now thinking about going through this process of what she wants, knowing that she does want a baby in the future. And she feels like for one reason or another, she can't share that burden with Johnny. And Paulina clocked it right away, where she said, it's like, all of these feelings that you're feeling, you need to share this with your husband.
Yeah.
Yeah. The fact that she, like, the you know, not keeping it from Johnny, like the whole appointment thing. I was like, oh, haven't we learned this lesson already? Like,
we just went through this. Yeah. It wasn't connecting for me.
I was like, okay, like we and it's not even that drastic of a secret to keep.
Yeah.
And
it's not a secret. She's gonna tell him, but
worry, he has so much going on with his father and John's death, and it's like, no, he'd be hurt that you didn't include him.
Yeah,
sure, but
yeah.
But I think it's the baby aspect of it, because I think while she understands where Johnny is, and it doesn't, her want for a family and a kid doesn't go away while she's watching her partner kind of be like, not ready yet, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like she's stuck in this place of like, you know, and I think also the gift, the Father's Day gift, was a little triggering too, of like what life should have been like for them. Because what they should have been preparing for is to take Tate and Sophia's baby.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not happening.
Yeah.
So
people in the chat room seem to have an issue with the way Chanel confronted EJ. I personally did not. I felt that was somewhat justified for her. Huh?
And bold.
But I appreciated it. I absolutely appreciated it, and thought that, like, again, maybe with all the other news she got that day, with things being kind of uncertain about when she can try to get pregnant, keeping it from Johnny, she was like, then she heard, like, that was almost like, for me, that was like probably the straw that broke the camel's back for her, hearing that Johnny and EJ might reconcile when, you know, one of the big reasons their adoption fell apart was EJ. Mm-hmm. And so I could see her just being like, well, you know what, fuck this, I'm gonna go tell that man to stay away from my husband. And I felt like she was somewhat justified. I do feel like it's just going to create more tension for Johnny and Chanel if he finds out that Chanel, you know, was kind of stepping in that. And I know EJ's probably not above going to Johnny and telling him that, you know, your wife came to see me and whatever. But was
that the EJ voice?
That was my very bad EJ impression. Sorry, Dan Furigal, because that was not standard at all. Anyway,
and he's never apologized for voices.
No, I haven't. I haven't really had one to. I just realized that I haven't really had a moment to do the Eric or the Brady voice, but regardless, no, I appreciated that Chanel had a moment where she stood her ground, and I felt like Raven, you know, I saw that fire in the character, you know, I was like, okay, I kind of like this Chanel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree, and I agree. I think it was one part of a larger conversation that Chanel needs to have with Johnny, where it's just one thing after another right now is just getting her very frustrated.
Yeah. But I think, you know, when she walked in to confront EJ, I was like, work. Like, she was somebody that was like, ain't nobody scared of you. But I feel like it's like, I would expect that from a Black woman, just to be like, ain't nobody scared of you. What you go?
I mean, I think EJ is annoyed in the moment, but I think he secretly respects Chanel for it.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, because he's never really had a problem with her, at least this second go around. I think he's always appreciated that his son is married to such a strong woman, and that she is there for him completely. Mm-hmm. And I think that, you know, in any other circumstances, maybe he might be annoyed, more than annoyed at this point. But I think that he understands, and you know, at the very least, I think he's probably grateful that Johnny has someone as strong as Chanel to come home to and to be a support for him. Mm-hmm. But now it's on Chanel to unburden herself and let Johnny support her.
See, I don't think so. I think EJ's going to be petty about it. I think the first thing he's going to do when he sees Johnny is tell him, I can hear it now, I'm not going to repeat the voice, but your wife came to see me and had a message for me. I know that's going to be the first thing out of his mouth the next time he sees Johnny.
I think he's probably going to be more manipulative with it. Like, if Johnny comes to him, he'll probably throw in a like, "Oh, is it okay with Chanel because she paid me?" Like, I feel like he'll be a lot more sneaky about it because he also doesn't want to piss Johnny off either.
Yeah, I don't necessarily agree that he appreciates Chanel's boldness the way you do, Araceli. I think he's just as miffed by it as he would be with anyone else.
Yeah, but I don't think he's like miffed to the point of like, look, this is EJ. He is such a petty person that when he gets miffed, he switches people with their doppelgangers.
Yeah, like that's he's not going to go after Chanel.
Yeah, that's how petty he is. I'm just saying, okay. EJ being the very individual that he is, I think he can hold space for both.
Oh my god!
On an EJ scale from 1 to 10, where 1 is him doing nothing and 10 is him doppelgangering somebody, you're saying he's like at a 5.
I give it like a 4. Yeah, like he'll be. I have no doubt he'll be petty. But deep down in the depths of his soul, he's like, yeah, I guess she's all right.
I now you know those like Mad Lib games. I now want to pose. EJ is so petty, he will, and I want people to fill in the blank. Because like EJ is so petty, he will make your mother disappear.
Oh my gosh, I am writing that down now, Tony, for as an idea for our when we go into the studio.
Oh, that is Mad Libs. That is funny. Yeah. Write that down.
Writing it down now.
Write that down. Yeah, actually, because I'm very bad at this. Because during the show, I'll be like, "Oh, I should post that," and then I'll write it down. And then when we're done with the show, I'm like posting the stuff and doing all this that I forget to do the post, and then I find it later and I go, oh man, that was funny. So I'm gonna post it now, and I want everyone who's listening or watching, once you're done, head over to our Instagram and fill in the blank of EJ is so petty he will blank, because we all know
he will.
He's that petty.
Replace your Folgers with Taster's Choice, or
whatever the pettiness is. How petty are we?
I'm not. I say I am, but I'm not.
I don't know, Michael Mattis. I think you are.
I think you're pretty petty.
I'm passive aggressive.
Yes. Yeah.
Like your pettiness will be like a beautiful gown statement. but it holds as much weight as like my pettiness.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Justin's as petty.
Justin's direct.
Justin's sly. Look at smile.
Like that's like Justin's pettiness is disregard.
Ignore, yeah.
He will ignore. He'll hear your comment, but will completely disregard it, and then be like, "Next." But he won't do anything. But the disregard of it all is just as petty. Because in his head right now, he's like, "Why aren't we moving on?"
I feel like I teeter-totter between petty, and I just kind of skip over passive aggressive to aggressive as I've gotten older.
You're just loud.
I just skip over. I just like I used to be passive aggressive, and I think as I've gotten older, I just skip all the way over to aggressive.
You just have mom energy. You just have that loud mom energy.
Yes, I very much do. Like I could have been last week. I could have been.
I should say.
Yeah, last week I could have been here, and I could have been, really in my feels over John's memorial. Instead, I was threatening children with wax upside the head because they were running in the house.
Yeah,
like I didn't. Yeah, because they got one warning from their parents, and then I was like, okay, here's the deal. You can listen to mom or...
I'm now trying to find an appropriate... I'll just go with this one. Because I really want to hear everyone saying how petty EJ is. Oh, wait, is this a better one?
Well, because it's interesting then, because they can bring up past actions. EJ is so petty that he won, blah 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 blah, and there's plenty to choose from, obviously.
Yes, but then there's just like ones that you can make up.
Who knows? Maybe they'll be in the
future. Okay. Anyway, while I do that, EJ and Belle.
Oh God, I'm getting almost annoyed by them as I am about Kat and Chad.
Oh,
as we've been about Kat and Chad.
Yes.
I'll just see where it goes. I'm at like, okay, I'll see where this goes. I'm not heavily invested anymore.
Yeah, I think we just need to allow people to run their course. Enough with the tottering back and forth. Just allow them to just get into whatever relationship they're going to get into, and whether it will work out or won't, we'll see.
Oh.
It was nice. It was nice to see Belle at least come to that decision. That's like, whether we work out or we don't, I have to make it about me and what I feel and not what everybody else thinks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I support that.
Yeah. Because that, for better for us, that's what John did. He didn't interfere in his kids' relationships. I meant that one time he did that, and he learned his lesson, because it was a disaster when Brady and Kristen first got together.
He got divorced.
He interfered one time in his children's relationships, and he to his credit, he learned his lesson. He never did that again, no matter what bad decisions they were making.
He interfered a little bit with Teresa. Got whacked on the head for it.
Yeah,
she put him in a coma and he stopped.
Yeah, I think voicing your opinion is different from interfering. I think I consider that different. Yeah. Because if he were here, he would absolutely voice his opinion.
But he went to see Teresa, right?
Yeah. And if he were here, he would do the same. He would absolutely be very vocal in his opinion about EJ and Belle, but I don't think that he would interfere. I think he would just do what he always did and just be present and probably say, well, I'll be here when this all ends.
Can we have Brady let us know which eyebrow John would use in this discussion of...
I thought it was the left. He kept doing the left eyebrow.
But there were different eyebrows.
The different.
I said we should have Brady do it, not Araceli.
No, I'm not gonna do that. I'm trying to think back to which eyebrow expression.
I'm here for it. Why not? Like, EJ fine. He's just as broken as everybody else. Belle, why not? Because listen, last week Carrie made a very valid point. Sammy chased after Austin forever, and Carrie ended up getting him. So it's like Sammy, you ain't got nothing to say about somebody chasing after somebody else's man. You and EJ ain't even together.
Yeah.
So you'll be okay.
Difference, though, Austin didn't. I mean, there's the chasing after a man, but the man they're chasing after now has quite a nefarious past and did nasty things to the sister.
I mean, this is true. However,
I think that's where, we have to remember, it's not just about Sammy, or it's not just about chasing after someone's man. It's about the man and his questionable history and actions.
I mean,
don't blame, don't, and this is what I'm saying. Sisters, don't fight each other, fight the man.
Well said.
Don't let some raggedy dick come between you and your sister.
Well, let me tell you something. Obviously, the dick ain't raggedy if she's so torn about it.
Apparently, it's gold star. Yeah. 5-star, 10-star, whatever you want to call it.
Must have
I hope there are no children in the room right now.
Oh, what magic
of gold? Yeah, the magic penis. Yeah, apparently everybody in Salem got it.
Lyman dick. Anyway, I'll stop. Sorry.
24K. That's it.
18.
Magnum EJ.
Okay.
Okay, our audience might be worse.
Oh my gosh. Oh boy. Someone just rang my doorbell.
That's why did I just hear it?
Hey, it wasn't me this time.
It was an Araceli in her doctor's office phone from 1993.
Right. Hold on 2 seconds. Let me go take care of that. And you all talk about Abe and Paulina and Rafe and Jada.
Why was Juneteenth on Friday in Salem and not Thursday?
And
because it's the same day, basically.
That's true.
It was the same day. It's just odd that historically they've managed to, especially since it's been on Peacock, they've managed to celebrate those things on
the day,
the actual day, like in reality. And I had a thought because I noticed last week John's funeral. What? Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I noticed with John's funeral's episodes, Monday and Tuesday's episodes were shorter than normal. They were like 33 minutes and 32 minutes versus being 37 to 40 minutes. So I'm wondering if they maybe made one of the funeral episode, they split it up into two because there was
probably.
I wonder, and that's why there was a 1 day delay with Juneteenth being mentioned on Friday instead of Thursday.
Yeah,
it was nice that we still acknowledged it because, like, I saw Thursdays and I was like, wait, I thought they were having a Juneteenth.
Yeah, look, we're just gonna
and it ended up being on Friday.
We're just going to suspend time at this point because realize that they basically said that the events from last Monday to this Monday were all 1 day, and I'm like, that's a freaking long day. Okay, so I'm suspending like all my expectations of time right now.
You're going to have to, because technically we're supposed to be a year ahead.
That's true.
The forgotten time jump.
Yeah.
Yes.
Someone on Twitter was like, hey, remember when Kate and Jack had an affair for 3 days?
And it was I thought about that today too. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, wow. Yeah. They really started that and dumped it in the same day.
Yeah.
Anyways.
We did get an update on the policing investigation, I think. Well, not an update. Who done shot EJ? And who's going to take the fall? Or who's going to take the fall for who done shot EJ?
Who?
What?
Well, now everyone's starting to everyone's slowly starting to think it's Johnny.
Yes. Yeah. Because the bigger part of this is that what Johnny, and I don't think that Chanel knows that Johnny went over there. She adamantly told her that he didn't shoot his dad, but
which is not a lie.
Which is not a lie, we don't think, but he didn't tell her that he went over there with a gun.
No.
And to bring everybody up to speed, I think where we are now is that based off the conversation that Johnny and EJ had this week, Johnny knows that EJ knows that he was there because he said, we both know what I did that night, but I think that EJ believes that Johnny shot him, and Johnny believes and we're assuming if Johnny is innocent, Johnny just assumes that EJ is aware that he went over there with a gun.
Yeah, it's just a misunderstanding.
Yes. So that little line was kind of blew past him, but that was I think a misunderstanding that's happening. Chanel knows nothing about Johnny going over there at this point, and flip it on over to the police side. Rafe, finally, told Jada that, hey, I kind of planted a camera in your crime scene.
Yeah.
Evidence is missing.
I like Jada and Rafe working together as friends. I'm glad that they're able to. It doesn't seem awkward.
Yeah,
I appreciated their moments this week.
Yeah.
Same. But I don't know. There's just not much movement in the EJ thing.
No, this is going to be a while. I feel like this is going to be a while. It's going to be a while before we may have to go through a period where someone's accused, someone goes to trial, we have to go through this whole rigmarole before we actually find out what happened. And I just hope that when we do find out what happened, it's the payoff is good and that it's not a disappointment.
Yeah, I hope so.
They better not create. So if it's someone's unknown twin or unknown quadruplet or someone out of left field that none of the viewers will care two shits about, I will not be happy.
Well,
not that matters to anything, but you know.
Well, I hope that they're listening because we don't want to make Michael Mattis unhappy.
They're like, whatever, dude.
They're gonna look at you and say, "Beautiful gowns." He has beautiful
yeah,
gowns.
Exactly.
Beautiful gowns. Okay, now that we're done with them, last to shut this out is Marlena.
What you thought?
I still can't get over that hug from Hope.
It
was very much like, why are you touching me? Why are y'all here late? What are you wearing? Like what? Like I feel like because I also feel like there were some moments during like John's funeral that it wasn't about John, it became about the person talking. And so I don't know, but yeah, I still can't get over that.
How did I rationalize it? That she was surprised to see them. There's this history with Hope and John, not of their fault, that I'm sure still causes a little bit of pause with Marlena. And so that coupled with like her grief and everything, she just kind of froze and didn't know how to react. She had mixed reactions in her head. So,
and I guess it showed, but
I rationalize it as it wasn't an intentional slight. It was just.
Well, that's just, I mean, we also questioned Paulina and Abe when they first came over. She looked annoyed, like, why are you here? Like, can y'all just go away?
I'll put these in the kitchen.
But it's interesting to just see Marlena navigating the loss of John, and I think having those moments of realizing like he's not coming back. Like this isn't like those other times like when we watch Days and we're like, oh, like how are they going to bring this person back? Like it's one of those things where we know that like this person is not coming back. But also the other thing is this, and this hit me too. Like when you've been watching a show for so long and you're starting to watch not the characters pass, but they're passing away in real life. Do you know what I mean?
It's been a really, really rough couple of years.
Well,
for
and even beyond that, because I can't remember. I think it was Joe Mascolo for me that went first. Then it was the woman who played Carolyn Brady.
Peggy McKay.
Peggy McKay, which I think it was like the year before we had saw her at Day of Days. Then there was kind of a lull, and then it was Victor, John Aniston, then Bill Hayes, now Drake. so it's just kind of like, whew, like you're watching, and it was, and watching Joe Mascalo kind of slow down, and they just had him sitting all the time. Like that was no, I'm sorry. I can go back even further. Frances Reed, because she was the first. Like, it's like that they just have them sitting a lot,
or on the phone calls.
Yeah. So I don't know. It kind of hit where it was just like, oh man, like you get so attached to this show that like you don't watch the characters pass. You watch the actors.
And that's how we feel every time.
Clark.
Yeah, and that's how we feel every time we lose a great soap actor and a great character, especially if they're still playing the character as long as they possibly can. All these people that we've named, they stayed on the show as long as they could, and we were so appreciative of that. It's just the last couple of years in particular have just been the way that we have lost like the 3 great leading men in such quick succession. It's just it's been a lot. It's been it's a lot for the Days cast and crew. It's a lot for their families, for us as an audience. It's a lot. And so seeing Deidre playing Marlena's grief this week, it felt like, her throwing those flowers on the floor just felt like all of us saying like, how much more are we supposed to take?
Yeah. It's hard.
It's a lot.
Okay. Well, let's move on to the next storyline, which is labor pains,
which turned out to be false labor pains.
But the return of
little soap staple, Braxton Hicks.
Braxton Hicks.
That sounds like somebody's name. Hi, I'm Braxton Hicks.
Isn't it?
Yeah, it's a doctor's name.
They named him after the doctor that kind of
coined it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now we know who we curse.
Well, we have the return of Aaron. Welcome back, Aaron.
And he's not the father.
Or is he?
He's not? Do we know that for sure?
Well, they were talking as if nothing happened between them.
Yeah.
I think they were friends if they slept together. Because remember, he was saying, like, I always thought we'd end up together. And they were like, oh, how silly or whatever. Like there was no reference that they were together.
That doesn't mean, but why? Okay, so why did he think that, though?
Because remember, he liked Sophia originally.
He had a huge crush on Sophia.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that they didn't fool
it
around.
Doesn't, but I feel like this was the writers telling us he's not the father. I feel like that was the writers saying he's not the dad by having.
Or is that them trying to make us believe he's not the father, and they're gonna have a flashback of them doing something, and he really is.
We will have to wait and see, but fans might have to let that fantasy go.
I think he's not the one.
Yes.
I don't know. I'm with you, Michael Mattis. I'm still like.
Well, there's also, it doesn't necessarily have to be Aaron. Like I think what the fans' idea is Tate's not the father. And we've even had that idea before, that maybe Tate's not the father, that the mom was using this pregnancy as a way to whatever. I don't know if I necessarily think that anymore either. But I guess it doesn't have to necessarily be Aaron. It would just make more sense if Tate's not the father and they needed to make it someone else. It makes sense. Aaron would be the easy one, because they had a friendship. They had a situationship, if you want to call it that. Not really,
In any case, it seems like, and I hope that they stick to this, that Sophia, after her false labor pains this week, is adamant she does not want to be a teen mother.
Well, she kind of paused there, though, when Sarah was questioning her. Remember, she kept putting it. No, she definitely did. When Sarah was questioning her, she was putting everything on Tate. And then Sarah said, well, what do you think? How would you react? And then she stopped and sort of didn't say anything. So I think it's the wheels turning of Sophia maybe getting used to the idea of.
I know. I disagree. I think I think it's trying to establish firmly that you can still love a child that grows inside you, and not want to be a mother. You can. That is absolutely 100% a valid choice. And her saying that, look, it's not like I don't feel anything for it. This kid is growing inside me, but I don't want to be a teen mother. I don't want, like, her entire the past year of her life has been completely upended. She's made firm that she wants to go to college, that she doesn't want to use this baby to trap Tate. She made that clear to Aaron, to Ari, that this is not the life that she wanted for herself. And I feel like people need to take her at her word for that. Well, I agree. When the baby comes, we'll see how she really feels then. But if by that point she says, I want this baby adopted, people need to take her at her word and let her go through with that.
I mean, that's what she's been saying. But we all know things change when it's when it's more realized, when the baby is out, and you're holding the baby, you can have a whole different feel.
And 18 is still young and somewhat impressionable, and it would be very easy for someone to say something to make her question to be like, say what she's always been saying, that she didn't want to be a mother. She doesn't want this life for herself right now. Everything Araceli's saying. But all someone might have to do, especially in her emotional, pregnant and young and impressionable state, all it would take would be someone saying something to her to make her somewhat question it. That doesn't mean it's going to change her mind completely.
Yeah.
But just, I think maybe that's what we saw. Just like, she knew what she wanted, but all it took was someone to like cast a little bit of doubt. But that doesn't mean she's flipping completely.
Yeah. I personally don't want that for the character. I want them to, because they've done that in the past where, we've teetered on, adoption stories in the past, and that hasn't, and then they decide they want to keep the baby. But I just feel like once we need to like let the kid go just once. It's not a bad thing to want more for these characters. It's not a bad thing for to us to showcase a healthy adoption storyline.
I agree, because it'll be a different thing rather than them like raising the baby. But then I can also see like how at this point, I don't even want to see Holly and Tate together. Like, I'm good.
Yeah, like
I'm over it.
Like I'm so over that. It's like, girl, move on. Like, if it's not with Doug, maybe Aaron. Like, I don't know. Like, Aaron seems to have his stuff together. He's smart. He finished his stuff so early. He was like, peace out. I'm going to Canada to hang out with my mama. I guess I'll come back for graduation. Mm-hmm. Which, side note, I want them to stop having Brady miss big events because of Rachel. Yeah. Like, he was late to John's funeral. Mm-hmm. And then she threw a fit and had to leave. And luckily, like, Ari and Tate took Rachel back home. Mm-hmm. Then, they're on the way to graduation. She throws up. They have to take a detour to the hospital, to which then, like, they didn't even let them graduate. Like, yeah. I'm like, there was a moment where I wanted to be like, okay, y'all, listen. Have her walk the stage and then be like,
oh, we knew we weren't going to see that graduation.
I wanted to hear Holly's speech. Yeah. I love that they made her salutatorian. I was like, and this is no shade, I was like, I didn't know she was that smart. Yeah.
Is it okay? I'm going to be a little petty right now.
Oh.
And I'm going to be a little petty and say I would have preferred to hear Holly's speech over Paulina's.
Oh. Yeah. I didn't even know there was such a thing as a salutatorian. So,
What you mean?
This shows how much Michael Mattis was paying attention when he
I was
went
like,
to school.
who? Oh, so maybe I literally was like, did they make that up?
Michael Mattis,
It's
you
not
didn't know
always
about.
been a thing, though. I understand if your high school doesn't celebrate it, then it's not always a thing.
I just remember valedictorian, and that's.
I mean, most people
valedictorian.
Most people only remember the valedictorian,
Yeah.
and they're like, "Oh, you're the second smartest kid. Great."
I don't know. I didn't even want to go to my graduation, so.
Hey, that title still helps you get into good colleges. It's nothing to sneeze at.
I will tell you two things about high school. One, I remember when I said I wanted to be valedictorian, and someone said, "You think you're smarter than Veronica?" Because Veronica was like the smartest girl in our class, and I was like, "Well, thanks for killing that dream." And then during my high school graduation, this stupid boy was picking on me. I believe he called me the F word. During graduation. I'll never forget it. Anyway.
Teenagers are evil.
Just pure high school was like, there was a period in high school where I was like, I do not understand why all these guys keep paying attention to me and how I walk and how I talk and how I carry myself.
Yeah.
And why you feel the need to call that out. And then finally, it just stopped, and I ended up being the cool kid. But there was always that moment of leave me alone.
Take solace in the fact that they are probably at least twice divorced, living in a studio apartment that they
and all gay now.
Only seeing their kid. No, we don't. No, they don't even deserve to be gay. They deserve to be alone. Only seeing their kids on weekends and every other Wednesday, not able to pay their rent for their studio apartment by the airport.
Dang, Michael Mattis, you must.
That's how I envisioned the kids that used to call me the F word. So
Michael Mattis is so petty.
That's where that pettiness comes in. Yeah,
he will wish you unwell in life. But it was also good to see Amy Choi just kind of be not so Amy Choi during all this.
She did have to start praying, but other than that, yeah. Who gave the look when she was like, "We need to pray"? Who gave the look of oh Lord? Who gave the look of? I can't remember who it was. I think it was Brady. Yeah,
it was Brady. Yeah.
Look, my 18-year-old comes home and has to go through labor. I'm gonna be praying too.
Oh Lord.
Not just because I do it, but because it's we all need strength to get through these few hours.
Well, okay, and I feel like I've had this thought ever since I was a kid. It's something about being pregnant that's very telling of you've done it. Do you know what I mean? It's like you can't hide it. You did it. And I remember when I was a kid, I remember telling my mom, because this one of my mom's friends, she had 5 kids. And I told my mom, I was like, she did it 5 times because she has 5 kids.
Oh yeah, sure, 5. That was the cap
only
number.
5 times.
I mean, look, as a kid, I didn't know any better, but I knew for sure she did it 5 times because she had 5 kids. But every time, every time I look at someone's pregnant, my pregnancy is the ultimate scarlet letter.
You look at it, you want to go up to her and be like, whore.
But it's, I don't know. I know it's a weird way of thinking, but every time I see a pregnant person, I'm like, you did it. You did it. And not in a scolding kind of a way, but it's just man, it's how far along are you? Oh, I'm 6 months. 6 months ago, you did it. We know you did it. You already done had hearses.
And people think I'm the weird aunt in the room.
Where my mind goes when I see someone with child.
Say what?
I said I can't say that's where my mind immediately goes when I see someone with child.
Where does your mind go?
Ew, kids. Unless I'm with Bimby and they start smiling at Bimby and want to pet him, and then I'm like, okay, you're all right. Because Bimby likes kids, so it's
see, okay. Someone said, Tony, you're not wrong. You know they did it at least the number of kids they have. Exactly.
It's just not my immediate thought.
Mine. I'm like, ooh, you done did it.
Or I think, when I see a pregnant lady, I'm like, oh, that poor lady.
I mean, I think that when I see Sophia, poor Sophia, but that's not my immediate thought to every pregnant woman in the world.
We watched Queen's Heart, and she said to her kids, virgins on the left, hoes on the right.
If anybody, I mean, I think we have a crowd of regulars today, but if we have any newcomers to the show, I apologize. We are, usually 70% better than this. I think. I don't know. I feel like today we're just kind of all over the place.
First of all, Brad K, do not remind me. I know how I got here. I like to think, though, that they were blessed and highly favored.
You were immaculately conceived.
Oh, no, I'm pretty sure I was conceived in the way that I should have been, but it was just a blessing.
Where is Mama Moore? I feel like we need Mama Moore to get us back on track. What were we talking about?
She's watching Days. She already texted me and said, I ain't gonna be on today because I'm catching up. So she's catching up. It's probably a good thing she didn't see this show.
Oh my gosh.
Anywho.
Got some good Rachel and Sarah scenes.
Thank you, Justin Lee Hareld.
Yeah, yes.
The quiet one will all of a sudden talk and get us back on. Another thing I want to say about being pregnant, I'm just kidding. So, yes, Rachel and Sarah. And we forget that, the history with Sarah and Rachel is that at one point, Sarah raised Rachel because she thought that was her kid.
I do not forget.
And let's not change that. Please. I feel like I was like, oh, we're getting too many I feel pokes here this week about that.
I feel like all the moment that's sold it for me that's where this is going is when Rachel was like, I feel comfortable with you, or I'm like, here we go. And then
please don't do that.
She's gonna gravitate towards Sarah, and then Sarah's gonna feel the connection, and then it's gonna be a thing.
Keep the connection, just don't rewrite history. Just keep the connection, just don't. I'm fearing this is where they're going. I'm just hoping not.
It is something that they never explored. Sarah had her mourning after she had to give but then it's never been really talked about before. I don't know. I wouldn't mind, again, for the entertainment value of it, for the soapiness, the potential soapiness of it. I guess I wouldn't mind them going that route. It would be a good way to continue having conflict with Xander. It would create conflict with Kristen, bring Kristen back into the fold. Kristen hasn't been around lately, at least in the past couple weeks. I don't know. I don't know. There's potential for good soap with it.
Yeah.
Do you think Rachel will ever utter the line to Kristen, I wish you weren't my mommy. I wish Sarah was my mom.
Oh, that's happening in 3 weeks from now. Yeah, I'm sure that's happening a month from now. It's already filmed.
I think now exactly. I think Rachel, the next time we see her with Kristen, she's going to be
a teenager.
She's going to be the same age, but she's not going to be as warm to Kristen she's not going to have that mommy, that clinginess that she seems to have had.
That I actually like. I like the idea if Rachel starts to form a relationship with Sarah or vice versa. That part I like and makes sense. I just don't want them to rewrite things or retcon it back to what it was.
I suddenly picture Rachel walking into the room being like, "Hey, Kristen."
It's just it walks in, Kristen. And Kristen's gonna be like, "Bitch, what?" My name is Mother.
Yeah.
Who are you talking to? You, Kristen.
No.
Not Rachel's gonna be doing shots with Ari in 2 weeks. Araceli, what's on your mind? Because now you're post up.
I don't know. This I feel like we've gone so far off the rails in so many different subjects. I'm struggling to figure out where we left off.
It's the wine.
I don't have any wine. I had just finished my tea.
I don't believe you.
Oh, we did get that. Sorry, I was debating whether to put it in.
Yes, yes, please. This okay. No, this I can talk about.
Okay.
Oh.
Go ahead.
What we said on the show before they went off canvas was that we collectively on the show did not believe that Eric and Nicole had what it took to make it long term.
Again, because it's kind of like, it's almost like a Sarah and Xander, what am I trying to say? A Sarah and Xander situation where, you know, Eric would be the Sarah and Nicole is the less than perfect. Mm-hmm. And that always seems to be the conflict with them, that Nicole does something that Eric doesn't like, judges her for it, creates tension. And I found it interesting, and I know they probably can't show the character of Nicole for reasons, but like we know Eric's in Salem, we know Eric's been in Salem, that mm-hmm. Nicole's in Salem, and we're not seeing her, and that she's being mentioned at least. I found mm-hmm. that a little. I was like, oh, they didn't make an excuse for Nicole not to be there. Like she didn't pull a Sydney and break her neck at the airport on a moving walkway or something like that. P.S. Sydney's handwriting,
beautiful.
I was like, oh girl, okay. Sydney. Yeah. I like how the note was typed except for her. Anyway, that was a sidebar. But yeah, but it was interesting that they even brought it up, you know, since we can't see them both together.
I'm glad they brought it up.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this is we talked about this too. This is like a rewrite for Greg Vaughn, like, who got screwed over. Like, let's be real. This is about him. I think Eric and Nicole were fine as a couple this go round. This is probably the happiest they've ever been. But this is about like trying to make something right. I think he got caught in the crossfire of everything that was going on. And we even joked about it in that last scene where like he was sort of going off to Paris with them, and he was like, he like looked back at the Brady pub, and it was like, oh shit, sorry, Eric, you gotta go. Like,
yeah. But storyline wise, it's like this. Yes, this is the happiest that Eric and Nicole have been, but they've been here before too. You know, once upon a time, you know, they had that beautiful wedding in the Brady pub. They were gonna raise Holly together, and then his holier than thou self took himself off to a different continent, and you know, there went that marriage.
Yeah,
I didn't get what you were saying, Justin, about this being like a makeup. Now I see they're creating conflict between Nicole and Eric so that Eric stays in Salem and Nicole goes back.
Exactly. Yeah.
Finally connected those dots.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah.
Yes, but at the very least, but to me, it's like it doesn't come out of nowhere. I know that there are Eric and Nicole fans who say, "Why are you doing?" They're going to say, "Why are you doing this?" They're destined to be together. But I am telling you, we have the receipts in our past shows on this show where we have gone through Eric and Nicole as a couple. We have watched them. We've gone through their history, and we as a collective all agreed that they can love each other, but they don't work well. When in the long term, we have seen them with other pairings where they have accepted their partners with much more grace, much more realism, and those two just eventually, no matter how much they love each other, that conflict of who they are at their core does not work.
Nope.
Do you all think that? And I know a lot of people don't want like recasts or whatever. But I was thinking about this because during Holly's graduation, I was like, there is no reason why a parent would miss that. Do you think they would ever recast Nicole?
Yeah. I think right now they probably can't recast for legal reasons. Because wasn't part of Ari's lawsuit wrongful termination. And if they recast and put someone else in that role, she could be like, well, they want the character. Why aren't they bringing me back?
It makes sense legally, yeah.
So
I think eventually they will. I'm not one of those people who's above people being recast. I think everyone is up for a recast at certain points in their career. You know, I'm okay with them bringing Nicole on if they want to do a story. Yeah,
I'll be okay with it too. I just think right now the reason they're doing it the way that they're doing it is because they can't. One person I never want to see back, and Annette Thompson. I'm usually #1 fan of the Annette Thompson fan club. After this comment,
I liked her. I liked Sloane.
Sloane the character. Do you like Sloane the character?
No.
Oh,
as opposed to
no. On both
accounts. I don't.
Anyway, no. Let me finish this. I was going through putting through the graphics.
Oh yes, okay.
And I didn't realize what a visceral reaction I would have revisiting something. And I literally came across a picture of her and was just like, oh God, thank God. Like I was like, thank God she's gone. Like I did not realize in the moment just how I tried. I tried, but no. And please don't. Days. Talking about recast, maybe a recast would change my mind.
Or bring back Leo's wife. Remember, she stood in for Sloane.
I wouldn't mind that.
Leo
I wouldn't mind bringing Natalia on for.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I could take or leave the character of Sloane. I didn't hate her. I didn't love her. I thought that the character went in a lot of definitely went in a lot of different directions that we didn't expect when the character was first introduced. But I will say that there is, in terms of is their storyline to be still mined with that character? Yes, because that character left the canvas in a hurry. There's still a lot of things that could be brought up with that character if they so chose to return the character. So yes, I could see that.
But remember, they expanded her because she was only on as a fling of Alex's.
Yeah,
that's it. And then they really like expanded that character. And I mean, I feel like, you know, the character did a lot for sure.
That character actually did quite a bit in a short amount of time.
They already got the blonde wig.
Dear God, no! They should burn that blonde wig.
I don't know how we got on this topic, but I think But so let's take a vote. Would we be okay with like if they brought Natasha on for a Sloane recast?
As long as the storyline was good.
Yeah, as long as there was a purpose to it and some intent behind it, and not just to do it, not just for the sake.
Okay.
I'm even okay with some type of closure because I personally never liked the way the character left. She went out the back door of the Damaris and was never heard from again.
Yeah. That's fine.
It's like I've never been okay with Judy Winslow going upstairs and then never returning. For the rest of the season.
Oh gosh! Oh, that's a whole other. Whew.
It's like y'all created 3 kids and then you just decided, the 3rd kid doesn't work. Y'all didn't do that with the Cosbys. All them churn was always there. Well, except for Sandra, but she was older, so that made sense.
Sandra,
you can take whatever is in that bank account and go discover America.
You'll find out what Mr. Ackles is doing in News and Gossip.
Oh,
look! No, he won't. And you can. Him coming back as Eric is. Yeah, he's
never gonna happen.
He's never gonna happen. The fact
thriving. Jensen
the fact that we got him even a scene of him during last year's flashbacks was insane. And we talked about, you can revisit our old episodes to remember how insane we thought that was.
Yeah, but then we were just like, we buy it. Like, he was young, he just grew up to look like the Eric now. All right, well, okay, those are our top storylines, right? All right, let's move this train right along because, honey,
I think
It is, yeah.
We are just
Crack at 5 p.m. here.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, guys.
All right. So before we move on to our tidbits, just a reminder to you all, make sure you follow us on social media. We're Dishin Days Show on Facebook and Dishin Days on Instagram, Twitter, X, and Threads. Also, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, find us on your favorite podcast station. Oh, I'm sorry. Yep. While you're at our YouTube channel, go ahead and subscribe to our exclusive members only page. It's only $4.99 a month. Get some good stuff. Also, make sure you find us on your favorite podcast station. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. And show some love to JLJ Media on YouTube and where all JLJ Medias can be found. Now, moving on into our tidbits, we are going to take a moment back, sailing away with the young version of Tom and Alice and Bo and Hope. I still kind of feel like they could do a whole series on a young Tom and Alice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I wouldn't mind seeing that. The flashbacks that they did this week of them and how they were with the family and all that kind of stuff. Like, I would be interested to see how those times were before, Julie stole the mink.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's cute.
Yeah, it's nice.
It
doesn't do anything for you.
No, no. That was like, I could have not watched. What episode was that? Thursday?
Wednesday.
Wednesdays.
I could have not watched Wednesday's episode, and
yeah, I mean, maybe it's good in small doses, but if we got a whole series of it, it'd be too schmaltzy, a little too perfect. And
by the time the end of that episode came and Bo and Hope walked out of Horton Town Square, my attitude was bye.
Okay, me and Michael gave our if you watched last week, you know how we feel about Bo and Hope sailing away. What do you guys think? Because we were very, very vocal about what we thought about
we were not in full support of the idea.
And 70-year-old Bo sailing away.
Nope.
If we're talking strictly about the characters, I'm okay with it, and I'll tell you why. Because what I don't like when certain family members stick around in town when all of their other family is not there. I think I would feel differently if Sierra and her kids were still in town, if Chelsea and Max and their baby moved back. I think if the whole entire Brady family was still in town the way that they used to be, I would feel differently about. Because that's what it was at the time when Bo was gone, and I was pissed to holy hell. Because I was just like, his whole family's here. His children are growing up without him. What's going on here? But the kids are grown. They've got grandkids. They're all scattered around. Nobody's in Salem.
Well, Sean is. But...
Sean is, but he's divorced. His, Claire is abroad, and so I feel like, character, just sticking for the characters where they are right now. Yes, let them go off, have an adventure. Their family is elsewhere. Let them go be with their kids where they are elsewhere. Their kids and their grandkids. They want to be full-time grandparents? Great.
But take a plane. Take a nice... Your
issue is with the boat? That's where your issue...
One of my issues was with the fact that, I'm sorry, not to sound ageist, when I'm that age, the last thing I want to do is go on I want to take a nice jetliner, first class. They can afford it. It's just
Michael Madness. That's what you want now. What do you mean when you're that age? That's what you want now.
When I'm their age, I can't afford it. Also, he just still is fresh out of his coma. I appreciate that they did this for the fact that they gave Bo and Hope they took advantage of the fact that they had Christian and Peter back for a moment, and they were able to kind of celebrate Bo and Hope as a couple because they are one of the legendary, not just Days of Our Lives couples, but daytime overall. Like you say Bo and Hope and it's like, oh yeah, daytime soap operas, they're legendary. Their wedding is legendary. So I appreciate the fact that they did this to have them back and to give them a happily ever after that they didn't get during their return before. But I've always said, like, I never gravitated to Bo and Hope as a couple. Like, they were never my favorite. I never shipped them. I appreciated Hope away from Bo more than I did them as a couple. So that's just my opinion, and maybe that's why Wednesday's episode was just like, I was like, all right, good for them.
I think for me,
but that was it.
This could have been how things were for them the last time. And when they got brought back this time, it would have been great to just see like what life has been like for them since, instead of keeping Bo in a coma for as long and Hope by his bedside. Like I kind of wish the last time we saw them, it was like he didn't get shot. He just kind of came out of the mind control of Miranda. And Hope just decided, you know what, we're not going to return to Salem because there's too many bad memories and things. We need to like go somewhere and just heal and just be and reconnect. And then during this, they just brought them back, you know, to be a part of John's funeral and stuff like that. But also take this moment of reflection of them as a couple and the memories that they had, and then just be like, you know what, all of that brought us to where we are today. And I'm so happy to be with you, and almost kind of officially close the Salem chapter and then go on. Because there were times where I felt like I felt like the focus really needed to be on John and the effects of that. And I felt like they also had to figure out how to not only honor John, but honor Bo and Hope and Stephen Nichols. You know, his 40th.
Lot.
So it was a lot to have to like weave through, but to make sure that everyone got their flowers. You know what I mean? So I don't know.
Wednesday for me, I wish it was done differently. I honestly, for the past couple of weeks, I'm now officially like clipped out like all these old clips. I'm kind of over them. I would have preferred if Bo and Hope were reconnecting with other people in Salem that last day, and they still, you know, again, we know Christian and Peter aren't around. They're around for a very short period of time. They're eventually going to leave. I get that. I wish it was done differently. I wish we saw Bo and Hope spend some time with Jack and Jennifer, to have a little reunion with Abe and Paulina. To like, I wish like that was the ending, so that they could go around, sort of do like a round robin, basically, of all their friends and family, and just have a little moment with them, and then usher them off. But to have them sequestered and just sort of reliving their like, I get it, but it was, I don't know. It seemed odd to me that that's how they sort of wanted to send them off.
Like again, this should have been the send off the last time.
Yeah.
And then this should have just been a coming back, and just kind of like people do when something bad happens, people come back.
Yeah.
You know?
Also feel like it's been 12 years now. I feel like we've been saying goodbye to this character in different ways. He died 12 years ago. He came back. They referenced him. Then Hope's back and forth. Then he's back 2 years ago. Then he's in a coma. Then, it's like, like, it would have been better to do something differently. Let them leave on a higher note with people.
Yeah.
I mean, I enjoy seeing them, so that, you know, it's always nice to see them. And like we were saying, I mean, Christian Alfonso looks amazing, and Peter looked great too. But just, I was expecting something a little bit more joyous. Would have been better, I think.
Yeah.
What it probably came down is that it was easier to film them just the two of them
sure.
alone, and that's why we got what we got. But I would have appreciated, like you would say, like some more involvement with other characters to see them, to kind of have that like final moment. But but like I said, it was nice that they were able to kind of get their happy ending finally. I appreciated that part of it.
It does that beg the question though, is there such a thing as nostalgia overload? Because I'm wondering if that's just what we're all feeling, where just so much had to be packed in at once.
I mean, I think they did as good a job as they could.
Oh, no, it was masterful. Everything. No, I'm not like all the flashbacks, all of the Tom and Alice stuff, the way everything has been incorporated this month between John's funeral, between Stephen Nichols' 40th anniversary, bringing back together Bo and Hope, next week's wedding. Everything has been masterful. Don't get me wrong. This is Emmy plus work, and I say that saying all this stuff better be submitted to the Emmys. That being said, I think all of us might just be on a little bit of a nostalgia overload.
You said what?
I think we're all just on a bit of a nostalgia overload right now.
Oh, well, yeah.
It's like, there's going down memory lane, and then there's I need a drink.
Yeah. Well, speaking of, let's sip on this. We're moving on to Happy 40th to Stephen Nichols.
I like seeing the we're talking about nostalgia overload. The flashbacks from his episode.
These were good.
I enjoyed seeing those, like, and seeing how, like, the evolution of Patch, because I wasn't around. I was around, but I wasn't watching. I was young when he first came on, and I only know Patch from when he and Kayla came back in like 2007,
2006. That was when that was my first summer watching Days, and so there, I'm glad that they included that scene, in the graveyard where she first sees him and she faints, because that was my introduction to them as a couple.
Yeah, and Stephen Nichols, like I've said about Christian Alfonso, I need to know what water you're drinking.
Yeah,
it looks like, seeing those flashbacks and seeing him now, I'm like, oh, he looks great. And Mary Beth Evans.
The stuff with Adrian was nice, but the dream in the flashbacks was nice.
That was a nice touch, seeing Judy as Adrian.
Yeah, that was a masterfully written episode, because I think it had the right amount of flashbacks. It had flashbacks that it wasn't just him and Kayla. It touched on Stephanie. Those scenes with Jada's dad, with Marcus, where I was like, I didn't expect those. Those were nice to see. Stuff with Jack. Everything was like sprinkled throughout to show the breadth of 40 years in Salem.
And I thought they included even Alex, they include was it the beginning of Mondays where they came in and I was like, were y'all banging in the lobby?
Oh God, yeah.
I was like, were you guys just fucking the entire, like, multitasking, like, on the way to the bistro?
Just completely disheveled, like the whole time.
No, I thought it was appropriate that it was Alex, Stephanie, Jada was there for a moment. We just mentioned Marcus. She was there to have a
proper
presence there. So I appreciated everything about it. It was masterful, as you said, Araceli.
Yeah, I agree. I enjoy the flashbacks, especially like to see like the times where I wasn't watching Days, and you do get to know some tidbits and things. Like, I didn't know that Patch had gave Jack a kidney. I was like, oh, like, you're a giver. I always knew about the eye, but it was interesting to see like that time. And then I had this random thought of like, at the time, did they think like, oh man, it'll be cool for him to wear a patch? But did you not realize that he was going to have to wear this patch like for the next 40 years, you know. So
I mean, they give him a break during the Steveno era.
Sure, but still, but no, it was.
They didn't include that in any.
Yeah,
remember when it was Stefano?
No,
they just
they just breezed over that. But I feel like it was great in the whole setup of like having the dinner at the bistro with the core people who needed to be there, and Alex I thought was good. I mean, it was a great nostalgic episode. So yeah. Last but not least, starting over with Ari and Will and Gabby and everybody.
Cute scene with Will, like Ari and the two parents, and to see them together as a family was cute. Yeah. And I feel like they're trying to get to an understanding with her a little bit. It was cute. We'll see if there's more of it, but
yeah. I mean, it's clear that she's gonna stay and Will's not gonna stick around. But it's nice to remember. I mean, and these would be Sherry's first scenes with Chandler.
Oh yeah.
You know, so that's nice, and to see that they already have like, they feel like that connection of these are their best friends, their parents together. It's really nice.
Yeah. I like the just the moment where Will and Leo had their moment to just kind of bury the hatchet a little bit, and then the introduction of
Javi.
I was battling between Al and Javi, and I was like, wait, which one is it?
Yeah.
Of Javi, and I don't know, but I just feel like it would be nice if like these things didn't happen just because like a character comes back, but there's just something just written in the moment of like, we already buried that hatchet, and so we don't have to do this now while you're back, because it's just sometimes awkward. But
I did pay attention to John. Like, I know they briefly sort of touched on it a couple of weeks ago with Leo, but I like that he had that conversation with Will about that was a big part of his life for a minute, like thinking John was his dad, and like Will saying like, oh, maybe your life would have turned out differently, or your life, maybe who knows what it would have been like if John was your father, and you didn't grow up with
you wouldn't have been such a
Diana
and an abusive father too.
Yeah. Yes.
They're going down this road with Doug.
We know where this is going.
But I'm also like, I thought we were done, because like he paid them off already. Why does he still owe?
Interest.
But did anybody chuckle or like laugh when the interest is $1,000? They're threatening to kill two women for $1,000. I was like, wait, what? Yeah, wait, what?
I glossed over that part.
Yeah, he's like, how much do you need? And he's like, I need probably like $1,000.
Like you break a person's leg for $1,000.
Yeah, like
kill two people.
Yeah, you're threatening to kill these two women.
Sure would be sad to see anything happen to these pretty ladies.
Yeah. It's like, what?
These pretty ladies.
$1,000. Oh my god.
I'm kind of like, can we move on from the Thug storyline?
Yeah. That's like what Dr. Evil would threaten after $1,000.
Like,
it's a 500 a girl. I can't. That's all they're.
What are they doing with the Doug character? They seem to be dropping the ball on him. I'm wondering if that was their question. How do we keep this character in the mix of things? And it's one of those cases you can kind of tell sometimes when this character's around, the direction's been kind of all over the place, and it's like, do they even know what they want from the character? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what we have. That's the case we have with this character right now.
And we seemed we're getting more detail about the Doug character. It still seems to be kind of like floundering a little bit. And then with the cat character, we seem to be pivoting into a whole different area now.
Which is
spy cat, evidently.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, because when she walked by, yes. Well, they had to do something with her because
the chat stuff isn't working.
Girl.
Yes.
There was a log line, I think, for this week that says like Chad and Kat spend the evening together, and I literally was like, do they fuck already or not? Like,
please! Oh,
it's just painful now watching them talk. I want come over and cook. I won't make hot dogs this time. No mustard. I'm just like this. I can't. Like, it's been
that happened so long ago.
6 months. 6 months they've been.
We're coming up on a year when they first.
Oh my god!
Yeah, right. I think
you're right. We are.
Yeah. And again, we didn't see her for 6 weeks or 8 weeks, but it'll be almost a year by the time they even do anything.
Kat has been on. Kat has been on for about a year.
Yeah.
In some respect, and her and Chad just.
They're no real closer than they were.
No,
they were closer when she was
still in the friend
zone.
zone.
Yeah.
And Billy Flynn is already gone. He made his debut this week as a recast Kane Ashby, and like, don't even talk to me.
Well, we can't
It's
talk to you because
Billy's playing a 50-year-old.
Just don't even.
Anyway, he's still Chad on Days of Our Lives. So
yes,
we'll talk about Chad on Days of Our Lives.
Well, that has been your week of days.
Thank you,
firefighter EMT.
2 hours later.
Yes.
If you are still watching us live and have stuck with us through this entire show,
61 people. That's considerable for.
Sincere thank you to all of you.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if one of them is still Megan Bizarro or if she has passed out under the table.
The last we heard from Megan Bizarro, she was getting in the pool. So
lit.
We're not done yet.
Well, let's move on to our favorite part of our show, which are our segments, and we're going to start with mine, which is Tony's official 3 Snaps Award. My 3 Snaps Award goes to the person who had to dig up all of those flashback scenes to make them correlate into the script. You did a magnificent job, whomever you are. I don't know your name, but your work and dedication shined through this past week. Thank you for taking us through the nostalgic moments of so many different characters, going back decades and digging up memories that we will cherish for a lifetime. You, sir, madam, deserve Tony's official. All right. And now it's time for
Caption That.
This week's Caption That photo comes courtesy of Rachel and Sarah taking Rachel's temperature. And this week's caption goes to our friend, and I believe member, I think, Manny or Manuel. Mm-hmm. Manny Manuel, with his caption, Manny B157175 on Instagram, with his caption, Rachel, with this CRS shot, you won't know how to be a brat anymore.
I doubt it. And that has been
Caption That.
And now let's travel back in time, shall we? To
all right, everyone, taking you back to June 18th, 1998, when Patrika Darbo was introduced as Nancy Wesley, Craig's, of course, beloved spirited wife, who a lot of times was the mastermind behind his career and schemes. And if you remember, I did Those Were Days Extended, where I take a deep dive into their relationship from this moment on up until what we got a couple years ago. So go check that out if you're a member. But yeah, that's when Nancy debuted. Because remember, Craig was on the show already for a little while, and then she came along.
Thank you.
June 18th, 1998.
And
Those were the days.
And now it's time for
It's a gift.
And this week's It's a Gift goes to new Ariana and her, her being a teenager. And I will tell you, I had this look this week. I saw this look this week.
I feel like you saw that look last night when you were having a cocktail and your nieces were having soda.
Yes, that's exactly when I saw it. Might have been with that exact straw, too.
And ooh.
Nope.
Sorry. No underage alcohol for you.
Come on, be the cool Tia.
That's right. You are the cool Tia. We are also not advocating for underage drinking.
I'm the cool Tia that I could have a drinking
At home, if you're safe environment.
We are not advocating for underage drinking.
We are not advocating for underage drinking.
Just sex and all the other debauchery we talked about. Yeah.
And that was
It's a gift.
Michael Maddox is ready.
My aim is off today.
It's off today.
Get your aim together, sharpshooter.
Exercises.
And now it's time for news and gossip.
All right, starting off with some casting information. Big congratulations to Carrie Christopher, who just seems to book everything under the sun lately. He has movies coming out and TV shows, and he just booked a new one. He is going to be in the new faith-based series titled It's Not Like That. He's actually going to play Scott Foley's son in the show. This is an Amazon MGM show scheduled to premiere later this year, early next year, and we will definitely keep you informed. But yeah, big congrats to Carrie. He's always booked and busy doing something. So
look at that headshot. How old is he? Look at that headshot.
There's nothing like Gabby's high school graduation.
God. Next up, big congrats to Zach Tinker. He posted a little behind the scenes video of his horror thriller movie. I think we've actually talked about this before. It called Beneath the Light. It actually did like a little festival run not too long ago. No word yet on distribution, but we'll keep you informed on that. But if you go to @Zach_Atticus, you can see it. It actually looks really good and really well made. So go check that out, and we'll keep you informed about that. And last but not least, we have some congrats to Jensen Ackles and Mary Beth Evans. Mary Beth Evans is actually going to guest star on Jensen Ackles' new show called The Countdown. It's an Amazon Prime show, and she will play the mother of not Jensen, but one of the other main characters on the show. And it premieres on Amazon Prime next week. So big congrats to both Mary Beth and Jensen.
Mm-hmm. And Days fans got a big surprise when Patrick Muldoon stopped by the Days studio for a visit, and it sparked wild alarm among viewers that he was coming back to film in Salem, but it has since been confirmed he is not returning. He was just having a fun visit at the Days studio. So if you want to go and see his reaction to being back, you can go to the Days Peacock social media page.
Now, wait a minute. You mean to tell me he did that, had us thinking that he was coming, and you just went for a sit?
Don't look at me. I didn't post it. Well, wasn't my idea. Next up, Miss Jackie Harry, who we love, had some fun out in Hollywood this week. She took some time to honor her dear late friend, Paul Rubens, a.k.a. Pee Wee Herman, for those who don't know, at the premiere of his HBO documentary. Jackie and Paul, who she affectionately called P, were close friends, and she said that viewing the documentary was like sitting across from him again. So the documentary, called Pee Wee as Himself, is available to stream now on HBO Max.
It's a good watch. I watched it. It's
I know. I meant,
very good. A little kind of sad, but good.
Yeah. You had to. Yeah, Pee Wee Herman was very much an experience in and of himself. Yeah. And then Colton Little attended the Pride Night Out in LA last Friday night. The evening was designed to celebrate LGBTQIA plus expression and allyship through conversation, support, and community. Yeah, and Colton Little, same. He's booked and busy too. He's always doing something.
And next up, we have our reminders. Of course, the day players are continuing their tour. Go ahead. You do. Day players in San Diego, Glendale, and Toronto through September, of course, of this year. All tickets and information, go to thedayplayersband.com.
The who? The day players.
And their Starstruck fan events will be hosting a special one-day fan event. This will be Sunday, August 3rd in Long Beach, California. So here, stars in attendance will include Taya Penglis, Leanne Hunley, Susan Hayes, Brian Titilla, and Susan Rogers. So the vets, we're bringing up the vets. So for serious inquiries, serious is very serious here. Direct message on Instagram at StarstruckFans2 or email StarstruckFans2@AOL.com for information. So this is for serious fans, people.
They're doing this in August?
Mm-hmm. In August, I guess.
So that's the same weekend as the General Hospital fan club. So I think they did it that weekend to in case there are Days/General Hospital fans here from out of town. That's what I'm guessing.
Yeah, probably. Yeah,
I'm guessing it's not a coincidence they're doing it the General Hospital week.
Yes. Well, regardless, this group of people don't get together for a lot of fan events, if unless it's like Day of Days. So yes, if you want to see these people together, and you really want to see them, this would be a great opportunity. So go ahead and email starstruckfans2@AOL.com or DM starstruckfans2. And for a different upcoming fan event through Starstruck, there will be an event held in Orlando the weekend of October 17th through 19th. This will include Stacey Hyduke, Casey Moss, Sherry Jimenez, Paul Telfer, Lindsay Godfrey, Matthew Ashford, and Brian Totillo. And for more information on that event and upcoming ticket sales, please follow at StarstruckFans2 on Instagram.
Yes, and for Star Image, we have, of course, the one event that's going on this week. So if anyone is there, please send us some photos and let us know how it went. But upcoming, we have the father and son Q&A Zoom with Eric Martzoff and Leo Howard. That one takes place on Wednesday, June 25th. Then, of course, we have the Day Players partnership with them for the Toronto show, September 6th of this year. And then, of course, we have Days of Our Lives in Nashville. That's take place the weekend of October 4th and 5th. In downtown Nashville. And all tickets and information, you go to eventbrite.com/starimageentertainment.
Yes. And next up, Samantha Friends will be hosting their Haunted Mansion fan event. This will be the weekend of September 13th through 14th. For tickets and information on this event, go to samanthasfriends.org.
Then we have our Jazz and Heroes event. This one is, of course, charity fundraiser to benefit the Veterans Health Network. With our friend Mr. Greg Vaughn. 2 events, both happening that Saturday, one during the day and one in the evening, September 6th of this year. All tickets and information, you can go to soapthis.ticketleap.com.
And this is a fun one coming up. There will be a movie night fundraiser for Stacey Hyduke's short film, Brand New Cadillac. Recall, we actually had Stacey and her daughter on our show to promote this fun little short film that they did as a family. The full short film will be playing, and there will be a chat with Stacey as well as a silent auction. So this will be Sunday, July 27th, 7 p.m. Eastern time. So that'd be 4 p.m. Pacific time. That'll be hosted by Melissa and Michelle. And for to Venmo or PayPal, you can see Venmo at rubymelis@aol.com. Pay through PayPal or Zelle lebo825@gmail.com. So this will be to have an $85 ticket price to view the movie night. This is a fundraiser for proceeds to a brand new Cadillac.
This is a virtual event, yes?
Yeah, this is a virtual. Yeah, so this will be a virtual event, guys. But you'll get, with the ticket price, you'll get to watch the full short film, have a chat with Stacy, and be entered into a silent auction. So this is really good for you could do for the comfort of your couch at home. And you can, for information on the movie, you can go back through our videos and go and check out the interview that we did with Stacy and her daughter.
And that has been
News and gossip.
And now it's time to find out what's coming up on this week's episodes of Days of Our Lives.
Next week.
Ready to begin your new life?
The rings are on.
For all the days of our lives.
The gloves are off.
I know who shot my Uncle EJ.
You're insane if you think I'm just going to let you cut me out of her life.
What does that mean?
Let's hope you don't have to find out.
And you have the right.
I have some information.
Will you help me?
To remain silent.
I'm going to make sure he pays. You are under arrest for the attempted murder of EJ Demera.
All new Days of Our Lives, only on Peacock.
And oop.
Oh dear.
And oop.
Oh my.
And oop. Well, next week is going to be good.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, y'all, that has been Dishin Days, where we have dished a lot of days. Okay. Have dished a lot of days. And guess what? For us, it doesn't end, because if you are a member, go ahead and start heading over to the Zoom, because it's going to be quick. Because it's already late on the East Coast and y'all trying to go to bed.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah. So thank you guys for watching. We appreciate you. We'll be back here next week live to talk about days again. But before we leave, Michael Mattis, where can they find you?
You can find me on Instagram and X at MLMatt. Yeah, there.
Lord, we gone. Justin Lee Hareld.
Find me on Instagram at Justin Lee Hareld.
Araceli.
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at TA323 Araceli.
You can find me on all social media platforms at Lounge with Tony, and you can find us at Dishin Days Show on Facebook and Dishin Days on Instagram, Twitter, X, and Threads. Thank you guys so much for watching another episode of Dishin Days, where we serve up a full dish of this week's episodes of Peacock's exclusive #1 award-winning hit soap opera Days of Our Lives. Until then, everyone, have a wonderful week. Enjoy yourselves, stay safe, and we will see you back here next week. Bye, everybody.